going on, guys, and welcome back to the Club 33 podcast, episode number 15. And it's again, we had to skip a little week there. I was on a trip to Disneyland, and we had to skip last week. There was a reshoot because Sky had some friends over, to say the least, and hopefully his friends have left. But
they were cockroaches, and it was a stressful time for me.
But Sky is here, Sky is well, and honestly, I have a lot to talk about because for the month of June, DSA decided to, get on their case and start releasing some stuff, and it looks like a lot of stuff is around the corner that I was surprised about. But we're gonna kind of go backwards. We're gonna kind of start at the beginning of the month, and then tailing over to what's happened recently. So at the beginning of the month, we got the Wreck-It Ralph team, and I was actually kind of happy that they waited a little bit longer on that, because the Wreck-It, legendary team comes out every 3 months besides Mickey and Beast. But it's been a while since we had a legendary. It's been about
4 months.
4 months. So my opinion, sorry, but my opinion, I don't think anyone can really complain, because 4 months, that's a long time, and they already put Herc through the hoop before that. So you had a full rotation before this one went through, and they put this one at the end. So I think it was a good time, and no one can really complain about the release of this one. And also, they have a separate campaign by themselves, which in itself was, I think, a decent release. And then also threw in, Calhoun into the tournament rewards. So it's something, not the same reward structure. It's 5,000 for 2 tokens, but better than nothing, especially for a newer and free-to-play community. That's going to be a big thing for them. So I know, Sky, you want to talk about this, so I'll hand it off over to you.
Yeah. No, overall, I'm really happy with this release. There's some ups and downs with it, of course. Like, they did heighten the requirements for the legendary team, of course. Where now, to max out the legendary at 7 stars, you're going to need all the 5 required characters at 7-star gear 7 instead of gear 6, as well as you need 2 spells at level 4, being Sugar Rush and Golden Hammer. But I mean, the team's about on par what we've seen in the past, where we're seeing the legendary obviously being an excellent S tier character right off the bat, and there being one character that is also really good, that borderline S tier on A tier, and then maybe some niche use below that, but overall like 2 characters that will make a big splash in your roster and in the meta. And I mean, they're overall pretty cool. Ralph's obviously pretty good against Herc, which I'm very happy about, because if you've watched this podcast, you've understood about how much I hate Herc and how much I've hated him for how long. But no, honestly, I'm happy at the direction DSA is going overall for the first time in I don't know how long. I'm just happy I can say that again.
Totally. Juice, what's your take on it?
Yeah, so for me, like, I've been not as active on DSA and on the Twitch scene for a little bit, for quite some time, I guess, recently, kind of the past month. And I mean, I was still logging on and doing dailies and stuff like that, but I mentioned on stream, like, I haven't been catching up with like content creators and things like that, either on YouTube or Twitch and stuff. So like, I haven't seen really much of gameplay and much of what's been going on with these characters that maxed out. I have gone up a couple in PvP. I have gone up a couple with Ralph. If it's Ralph as a solo plug and play, he does extremely well. Just from what I've seen, the way he can get kind of an instant turn, he gets the attack up, the guaranteed crit. It hurts, and he does a lot of damage. And I've also seen him paired with Vanellope, works quite well. That's all I've seen so far. I haven't seen any Fix-It Felix. I haven't seen any Calhoun. I haven't seen anything else as far as champion play goes in PvP and Sorcerer's Tournament goes. So I don't know much about the team. I don't know if the Calhoun rework is a staple or whatnot. So I'm kind of here with almost the chat here that's watching live on Twitch or even YouTube for your channel, Dragon. I'm kind of learning with you guys tonight. So obviously it's cool that Sky kind of took the reins first. So as far as that's kind of basic my experience. I don't know, like after seeing it, I don't know if Ralph is a hard, like if the whole team is a hard farm and you want him instantly 7-star for the next pass. If he seems as impactful as Herc is, he seems really strong though. I mean, Sky, I'm agreeing with you there. From what I've seen him in PvP, he hits like a damn truck. So yeah, it's not much experience on my end. I don't know too much about the team and the synergies and how they're working in both campaign P and all the different game modes, I guess, ST, PvP raids and stuff like that. So Dragon, I'm sure you'll have more feedback and input on the team than I do. So I'll just sit back and relax and hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so one thing I did miss, but Sky catched on to it, was the entry fee for Wreck-It Ralph at 7 stars. The Sugar Rush at level 4 and Golden Hammer at level 4 as well, I believe. And then, of course, having to get them to 7-7 is quite a steep price. But luckily, I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed it too. They have increase the drop rates, and the drop rates do feel pretty good. I feel they're around 40 to 50%. Of course, not always in hit that well, but I feel like it's around 40 to 50%, when before it was probably around 20 to 30%. So I do significantly feel that increase in the drop rates, which really helps, and I'm happy about. I have faced him. Someone in my tournament shard does have him, and they use him on defense with Herc and Ralph. So I actually beat it, and I was able to take the top spot. But granted, that Ralph was only 6 stars, and probably his abilities weren't maxed out, and I think he had only a level 2 stone for offense. So not a full.
Was that the Sen 6 Herc Ralph team that's going around?
Let me see if I can probably
that
check it out.
Is nasty.
I
haven't got to face it yet, but I've heard some nasty things about it for a defense.
I have to check out the team, what they were using. I don't think it was. Let's see.
What's the 3 Sen 6, Sky? Mickey?
Yeah, so it's Mickey, Donald, Daisy, Herc, Ralph. And it's what a lot of people are hyping up to be the new PvP team to farm for / place,
Because the one...
Sorcerer's Tournament.
The one people were doing before was, I've seen a lot of Herc, Beast, Daisy, Donald, Mickey, or Beast, Belle, Mickey, Donald, Daisy. This person used Herc, Ralph, Ursula, Donald, and Mickey, but the synergy between Daisy and Donald is really good for the countering and stuff like that, and
especially on defense with all their buffs.
Oh gosh, the team I was able to use to beat them, I had Mickey, sorry, not Mickey. I had Baymax, Hero, Shan Yu, Beast, and Belle. Sorry, no, not Shan Yu. I had Herc. My bad. There you go. I had Herc, Belle, Beast, Baymax, and Hero, and I used Hero's lead. I was able to get the debuff on them, and basically what I was trying to do was just trying to control Herc and Ralph. And honestly, level 4 clock tower has been so useful in those situations, especially when it can get the 1 turn. You're pretty solid, because once they do their 1 turn, granted, it might be a strong attack, you're gonna be able to counter, at least kind of polymorph them, and they basically skip a turn pretty fast. So that's been my go-to spell combo has been Cauldron and Clock Tower. But Ralph was, I was scared because that was the first time I faced him. I heard a lot about him, but I was able to maneuver through it. But I definitely not gonna be the same thing every time, unless if this person used Daisy instead of Ursula, I think it would have been a lot better of a defense, a lot stronger. I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it, because Daisy and Donald would have just countered the crap out of me every single time. So but definitely a very fun opponent to use, someone new, but I think because of the entry fee to get Ralph and stuff like that is so steep, it's gonna be a while till you see a lot of 7-star Ralphs from maybe the Guppy community and the free-to-play community. So you're gonna I don't even know if the second time around you'll see a lot of that. You're probably gonna see a lot of 6-star Ralphs, but my guess is probably third time around you're gonna see a lot more of those 7-star Ralphs, because remember, you got to get the Sugar Rush and Golden Hammer, which for us, you've been around for so long, you've opened up spell packs, you're probably going to get it at some point. But for a lot of maybe the newer players and stuff, it's going to take a little bit more while. But that's kind of my analysis so far. I think they're going to be a good team. I haven't faced Vanellope yet, but I know she's really good as well.
Yeah, my big takeaway from this is I don't know if you guys remember when Mickey first came out. But not even on defense, just in general, he almost seemed kind of unbeatable, right? And it's because you didn't know how to play against him. And I think we're gonna see a similar thing with Ralph, where Ralph sometimes might seem really unbeatable for players, and he is very good. But if you can learn how to play against him, and you can really learn his kit, when he gains that magic, how much magic he needs to get that insta kill off. When's the right time to ignore him? When's the right time to go for him? If you can learn those things, it makes Ralph a lot easier to deal with. I've been playing against a good amount of them because I've been doing I'll get to that later, but I've been playing a lot of PvP the last 2 seasons. And at the end, it's all about figuring out when's the correct time based on the pace of the battle to target him. Because sometimes you want to ignore him, leave him last. Sometimes you want to take him out real quick. A big question is if they have Golden Hammer, then you have to play completely different because you can't target. You have to, if you think your opponent might have Golden Hammer, you have to target Ralph last. Simple as that. Because if they bring Ralph back with Golden Hammer, it's just done. You're done. So yeah, and Vanellope is really cool. I think all correctly built Ralph teams will include Vanellope. I think that's how good they are together. Just because they have some crazy synergy. It's really good.
So is Ralph you think Ralph's a hard farm for second pass?
So I'm always gonna farm the legendaries. It really depends on where your account is. I do think Beast is the most important legendary to have right now because of how versatile he is in every mode in the game. And I don't consider Ralph to be the same level, but I do think Ralph is quite good. Ralph currently doesn't have a great leadership to go along with him. And we're seeing a lot of teams without a good leadership with Ralph, and I think that's a mistake. So I think figuring out where to place Ralph, what lead with that team, and all that will be, and how well people are able to execute that will ultimately determine how good Ralph is. I have some crazy theory crafts that I can't test because I don't have the roster for it.
Yeah.
But I honestly think Judy Hobbs might be the key. I know it sounds crazy.
Now I have to check out Judy.
I have a lot of faith in Judy Hobbs with Wreck-It Ralph team. Like the
What's
team
the
I wanna
leadership
try.
again? Like I can look it
You
up,
gain
but-
12% dodge chance, and every time an enemy inflicts a harmful effect, you have a 20% chance to perform attack on them with Judy, and that attack has a 50% chance to stun them. At G9, you can upgrade that leadership to make it a 100% chance to stun them with that counter attack that has a 20% chance to proc anytime they do a negative status effect. So like in an extreme example with Go-Go, that's all of a sudden going to be like a 70% to proc because she inflicts defense down 5 times, right? Like that's obviously the dream example, but it has no magic recharge too, so she can just keep stunning your team. And she gives that 12% dodge chance to all downtown heroes. So I think like Baymax, Judy, Mickey, Vanellope, Ralph seems like a baller team to me.
Well, luckily
That's
I
super
already have
interesting.
him. I already have Judy, so I need to gear her up.
Yeah,
If that's the case, Sky.
See, it's a complete theory craft thing, though. I have no way to test this, and I haven't seen anyone run it. It's 100% theory craft. So, like, I'm not telling anyone to farm that, but, like, watch out. Watch out for it. And if it comes up, you say, I knew this was coming because Sky said so.
Best advice out there.
So the other speed teams like Kingdom teams and stuff doesn't matter because Ralph gets those instant turns and is able to still catch up, right?
Yeah, and the idea, and then like the idea behind it is you have protection with Baymax, you have an increased dodge chance with every single character. You don't have a lot of good targets. If you're taking a lot of turns and putting a bunch of harmful effects, you might get stunned by Judy. So the kind of idea is that like you have a couple things in place instead of speed, because there isn't a speed lead obviously for Ralph or Vanellope that works.
I don't know why, but why?
Could just be
Why
bad.
is my gut telling me if Judy becomes some type of meta character with leadership, they're gonna nerf the leadership or something? Like they'll nerf the stun, or like they'll change, they'll decrease the dodge chance.
I feel like you probably feel that way because Judy's leadership was didn't work for the first year of the game.
Yeah.
Like for the first year of the game, she never did her counterattack. So no one used her leadership because half of it was broken.
Sure.
But they did fix it, and I'm like, I'm not saying this team is meta, but it's at least I would love to see someone with the roster test this team out, because I think it sounds like a ton of fun. And Vanellope has gains turn meter whenever she evades, which is pretty cool. So if she has increased evade chance, all of a sudden, that's pretty good.
I'll have to keep an eye on it. I'm definitely curious about it. And Judy would be a free to play 7-star farm through ST exchange, so that's a positive.
Just her
to think
gear,
about
and
it
her
too.
gear and gold is all you need, and her gear with gold runes. No energy, more roughly.
Eventually, I will be able to test this out. Once I fully go for that Wreck-It Ralph team, I'm just trying to get through Ascension campaign stuff. That's been my main focus now. But we'll get to Ascension campaign a little bit later. But definitely get insights, Sky, and teaching us your wisdoms for Wreck-It Ralph, so we can think for the future. But it also sounds like Vanellope and Ralph are kind of going to be like a Belle and Beast scenario. So I kind of like that.
And for any of those that are a little less familiar with their kits, basically the idea is that Ralph has a passive that whenever he or Vanellope go below 60 or 30% health, he gets a free turn that's not even turn meter gain, so it can't be copied, and it can't be copied by Beast, and it can't be countered by Hercules.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
So having Vanellope and Ralph on the same team means there's two characters that you're afraid to attack. Because if you get them at the wrong spots, you could proc a turn and possibly just that insta kill that Ralph can do.
That's good to know, because for me, if I can't go
characters.
Yeah, they're new characters, and if I can't really go for them, right now I'm going for Big Baby and Chunks, so I'm starting to study their kits and stuff so I can learn how to use them through Ascension campaign. But if I can't use them directly, I'm just I'll get to it eventually. If people are using it, it must be good. I'll get to it eventually. That's my lazy way of saying I don't like to study my characters. But
the strategy gamist in me.
Exactly. Number 2 over here on our agenda, we have chest upgrades, and I was kind of surprised, for the 24-hour chest, that that they put in the gear tier 8 material stuff. Or see, it's really confused. 7, yeah. See, they confuse the crap out of me. Everything that I say when I say gear tier 8, it's really tier 7, which is kind of blows my mind.
It's the current gear tier they are.
Mm-hmm.
When they're equipping a piece, is the name of the gear they're equipping.
Which is so annoying, because you end up saying gear tier 8, but really, for tier material wise, only tier 7. You're just kind of why? But yeah, that's something that I was really happy to see, and the chests themselves have gotten so much better, I think, because of that in general.
Yeah.
And when you hit level 60, oh man, beyond good. And I think eventually when they hit level 80, they're gonna probably adjust it where when you hit 80 or 85, they copy Swaga, then probably get something for that. But also We're missing the Wreck-It Ralph team in the Grand Campaign chest and Ultimate chest. Come on, Glue. That was like a game standard. You always add them the first go around. So I have no clue where they are. But this isn't like the biggest thing, but you know, chest bring a lot of freaking stuff to you.
Yeah.
So
something people are very slowly gonna realize, right? And start
Exactly.
noticing in their accounts.
I mean, I had like 1 million of them, and I didn't open them until Sky told me to. But I know, Sky, you took the Wreck-It Ralph topic first, so I'll let Juice. What are your thoughts on the chest and when they're gonna add Wreck-It Ralph to the Grand Campaign chest and stuff?
I don't know about when they're gonna add them. I mean, I feel like every week on this damn podcast, I was talking about when are they gonna switch up the tournament exchange or anything like that. It took a long time for that. I don't know. Look at the chests are a good thing. However, I was not the one who saved everything because of the little damn red little symbol next to the store icon where I thought I had to open up my 24-hour chest completely, and like it just taunted me. I always thought I had something to open up when I didn't. So if you were disciplined about it, like Sky and you Dragon, you guys did the right thing. I opened up every damn chest whenever I could. So I clearly not the one to listen to when it comes to that, but I feel like I learned my lesson this time around. So I'll probably start hoarding them now and seeing when's the best time to do them and things like that. But no, I did not do it the smart way. I opened up everything I could at the time. So a lot of people who did open up got a lot of juicy rewards. So shout out to them. But it's a good thing. It feels like when you open those chests now, it's like feels like you're getting good stuff now. It's like, sweet, there's purples and stuff in here. You get that good feeling too, which is pretty good. And you know, when you're farming these new characters, you are doing a lot of Grand Campaign. You are doing stuff like that. So you're opening more of those chests now. So the payoff is good. It's good to see them do that, because now it just feels like there's so many characters gearing up now, and there's new teams you need to start building for, and it's like, you know, if you're not spending gems and stuff to get these pieces of gear in the exchange, or you're not buying the bundles and stuff like that, some of the pieces to get are very difficult to get, especially like when you're getting bad RNG in the exchange. Like, you're not getting stuff in the raid exchange that you're looking for, and it's like that stuff can take a while to get pieces if you're going to free to play. But good move on them. Hopefully I'll have those characters soon, but I enjoy it. Nothing bad to say on my end.
Yeah, no, I agree. My biggest surprise and delight was that the T7 pieces they added, they weren't like instead of the droplets or instead of the T6 gear. They added completely new drops. You're still getting all the gear you were and more, actually, because they increased the number of drops you get in there. So it's complete gravy, which is something I did not expect from Blue and was very pleasantly surprised with. The rewards just, I mean, in those 24 hours and in those, Grand Campaign and in the loyalty chest, they've all gone up quite a bit. They didn't increase the rune drop, was the only thing I was hoping for, and was like, damn, but hey, we got like everything else was increased a lot, so can't complain. As far as the Wreck-It Ralph characters go, I think we're kind of seeing a new normal. So I would categorize all the legendary events that have happened so far into 3 categories. And Frozen would be in its own category, where the requirements are different and they added a character to the exchange right away, to multiple exchanges right away. And it just, it was a lot easier, right? And then we had Baymax through Hercules, were all very similar. Maybe except for Sensational 6, you could argue is a little different, but that could be for a variety of reasons. But more or less, those were all very similar. Where there was no exchange opportunity for them. The requirements were all the same. They had the same double drops, more or less, except for Sen 6 again. But I think there was something behind the scenes we didn't know about with Sen 6 still. And then we're seeing now this new era of legendaries where they have increased requirements and they have a side, what are they called? Side quests? Side adventure?
Yeah.
Side adventure, I think. They have a side adventure associated with them. So this is the new, quote unquote, the new age of legendary events. So I think they're setting a new precedent with this. And the precedent is your loyalty and, you know, like your loyalty chests, your Grand Campaign chests are not going to help you with this legendary team. The one I'm really bummed about, and I know I've talked a bit about this with Dragon, is the ultimate chests really feel pretty meh if you're like a veteran player right now, because they haven't added any characters there for a while. Like, I've been hoarding mine and I don't really see a reason to spend them, but at the same time it's like, well, when are you going to add to them? Because there's only a couple characters I even want in there. So what's the odds of me really getting the tokens I want? You know, like, I opened my loyalty and my grand campaign chests that I was hoarding for quite some time, but there was no really reason to do the ultimate chests. They seem like they're getting more and more obsolete as the game goes on. So that's the only thing I'm a little wary of. Is we're like, I'm really happy with all the changes they made on that, but this not adding farmable characters to these chests that are supposed to include farmable characters is a bit of a strange tactic. And you know, maybe it's just they were giving us so much stuff that we didn't have before that they felt like they had to take something away. I don't know. It seems a bit of a weird decision, but I mean, overall, very, very happy with the changes. And I think that's just kind of the logic. Is like, this is the new breed of legendary event that we should expect going forward.
That is definitely something to look forward to. That they may not add these things for a while, unfortunately. And the ultimate chest, I don't know how much money they really make, Blue, if people really go after them or not, because I just always get them whenever I get the coins or the tokens from, you know, like Club Conquest and stuff, which you can get like maybe once a week or something like that. So now I'm starting to hoard them just because Sky told me to, basically. That was the best advice for me, so I was like, Sky told me to, so I better do it. But yeah, hopefully they do add the Wreck-It Ralph team eventually, but it's always up to them when they want to do it, so it's gonna probably be a little while looking at how things are going. But who knows, maybe tomorrow when the patch notes come out, they're like, oh, here's Wreck-It Ralph in the chest now, yay, thanks.
Pretty rock and roll.
But next up is the Ascension campaign. So
Wait 1 second, Dragon, really quick.
Oh,
So is it
yeah.
still beneficial it's still right to open up loyalty and grand campaign chest still now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because
It's
they
not worth
won't
hoarding anything?
they won't update those for so long. Not that they just updated them.
Okay.
So the only time you should hoard those is when you think it's somewhere in the near future they're gonna increase them.
Yeah.
and it doesn't look
that's
like it.
The simplest way to put it is like, if you think there's a chance they will increase it soon, you should probably hoard, because you don't want to hoard like now, because that's silly. You're gonna hoard for like 6 months to a year,
Mhm.
and you're gonna miss out on so much progression and all that time. But you know, hoarding for 2 months, maybe that's a little more reasonable.
I'm probably gonna
If you-
start
Sorry,
hoarding.
Dragon, for
opening up
interrupting.
now.
man. I was just curious. Good. It's a good plan.
No worries. I mean, I'm probably gonna like honestly probably open up some on my next stream. Because I have like right now like 4 million. It's not 4 million, 400,000 grand campaign tokens, almost 500, and then 38 loyalty. So probably gonna open them up soon on my next stream. But I am gonna keep the ultimate chest just in case they do upgrade those, because it's not like
The ultimate chest is like, there's no reason to open them.
yeah.
Is where I'm at. It's not like I think there's this big increase coming to them. It's just like, well, I don't have any reason to.
Unless they throw in like the new legendary team or something like that, I don't have them. Might as well attempt it, you know. But since
Yeah.
that's not happening anytime
Eventually
soon,
they'll add characters, is what I figure. Eventually.
yeah, eventually. But going back to the Ascension campaign, so far, I will say, it's been quite a challenge, and I do like that challenge. It's made me expand my roster. But honestly, if it wasn't for the increase in drop rates, this would be so much more difficult, in my opinion. I probably wouldn't have. I 7-7'd Quasi and Esmeralda pretty quickly. I had to pivot. And those resources probably would have gone to Mulan and Merida, but they had to go to them. And now resources are going to Chunk and Big Baby for the same fact to get through that part 2. But I know, Sky, you talked about this big, you even made a graphic, but I haven't been able to listen to or watch it yet. So so far I've cleared stage 1, and that's been helpful. Starting to accumulate stuff for gear tier 9 as it comes around. But Sky, what is your insight on it?
Yeah, so Ascension's a really interesting just game mode in general, where it's of course just more or less heroes and villains campaign, but you have specific requirements in which characters you can use and what level they need to be at, and it's quite a bit more challenging. So the first there's 3 sections to Ascension, and the first section is entirely Hunchback / Kingdom characters, and everyone should do this section. Other like the Hunchback characters, you could argue about their worth, but like working on 3 Kingdom characters is a really good decision for your account in general. Working on Bell and Beast specifically, and then third to your flavor, probably Shan Yu, but depends on your roster. Like everyone should just be doing Ascension 1, or at least somewhere down the pipeline working on Ascension 1. It's the only way for now that you get G8 gear, and it is quite slow farm of that G8 gear, but it does allow you to start farming, and you have to start somewhere. It gives you energy that you are getting every day, that energy turns into XP, that energy turns into gold, leaderboard experience even sometimes, right? It's just a additional resource that you want to milk the benefits of, even if you aren't spending gems on refreshes or anything. After that, it gets quite hairy because it starts going to less versatile characters, right? And you're also in Ascension 2, it's like World 2, kind of like Mario. You're having to use a variety of different factions or groups instead of just one throughout the whole thing. So I believe it's 4 different sections, where it's Toy Story, and then it's Lilo and Stitch / Mythical, and then it's Triton, Little Mermaid / Oceanic, and then it's Rapunzel, Tangled / Wilds. So you're seeing there's a lot of different categories there, and the first one is the biggest gatekeeper, which is Toy Story / Toy Story 3, also because some of the characters need to specifically be Toy Story 3. I haven't heard of a single person beating it without Zerg. So that's the largest reason why I haven't invested in it. Because maybe at like level 80, but like I literally don't know if it's possible without Zerg. Like I'm not saying it is or it isn't because I haven't played it, but I just have no idea, and I'm not willing to invest in it if I have no idea if it's possible. Because people struggle on those with full G8 teams with Zerg, all 7 stars.
Wow.
And it's like, what do you really get for beating Ascension 2? And the answer, I actually made an infographic on it. I didn't set it up, sadly.
I can find it. I'll post it on at least on the YouTube one. I'll put it on the screen for you guys for sure.
All right. I put it in chat just in case anyone wants it, but our chat, not Twitch chat, anyways. But yeah, it's like you get a bunch. You get about 1,380 pieces of T8 gear, which is huge for. This is for Ascension 2 and 3, and I'll get on 3 in a second. So you get 1,380 pieces of T8 gear. You get, this is actually pretty comedic, 666, the devil's number.
I did it on purpose.
Of T7 gear. You get 200k. You get a trophy, 70 alphas, 35 betas, 20 gammas. But for the gear pieces you're farming, every single piece is farmable on Ascension 1. You're limited on your attempts, so you get more attempts essentially for things you really need. Like if anyone's familiar with it, the vision pieces, you need 100 pieces for every single T8 piece. So like that's something you're gonna want to prioritize, and be nice to have multiple nodes to farm. Ascension 3 also allows you to like more efficiently farm, where you can there's one that can drop up to 4 pieces, but you only get 2 attempts there per day, so it adds up, but like not that much. So ultimately, like Ascension 2 and 3 are really passable, is what I've come to. And though it's helpful to go for that, and you will get the benefits in the long term. It's not something you have to gun for because there's so many different resources in the game, and we will eventually see a raid. And who knows? Maybe we are going to talk about in a second, but like the new Summoner Showdown, maybe that's going to include some way to get T8 pieces. We don't know. But overall, I just find it passable, and I think it's something I eventually will work on. But it seems like a bit of a luxury and very much so a whale's
delight.
a whale geared mode. Yeah, no, like it's a whale geared mode because if we're saying at minimum you have to have 5 runed T8 level 70 plus characters that are not very usable in other modes, just to have a chance to beat the first part of a 4-part campaign is a very steep price. And you can see the rewards. 1,380 pieces of T8 gear is a ton. Like, I'd kill for that. But I'm gonna have to T8 5, like, and then I don't even know how much for the other 3 nodes, depending on what I already have at T8 for the requirements and what I don't. Not to mention runes, not to mention gold. It's a very, very steep price. So I do like Ascension. I do think the first part's worth it. But I think at this point, Ascension 2 and 3 are just unrealistic for most players, unless you happen to heavily be invested into Toy Story, which I don't think many of us are.
I'm starting to now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good side project. Throw some resources at it every once in a while. Like I got my chunk to T6 for the Lotso event because I figured I'm eventually going to get him up for Ascension. So I might as well get some better rewards for the Lotso event by having a T6 chunk. I might as well get something for these resources I'm throwing into him. Like, it's a good side project. Throw stuff at it every once in a while. But it's really hard for me to tell anyone to go for that primarily.
Yeah, I mean, probably should have consulted you before I went full throttle on it, but I at least haven't gone for the other characters out there.
I mean, eventually you're gonna want to go for it because eventually it will be beatable, no matter what, because we'll have farther gear and farther levels. When you're talking about level 80 and just how much power every single level adds to a character, like your stats will be a lot higher. But it's just there's a lot of uncertainty around it, and it's a very, very steep price.
I mean, I have Esmeralda, who I need to finish. She's at 5 stars. I was able to clear it with an Esmeralda 7-star gear tier 4, but her supporting casts were all 7, if not only Beast was 7, 8.
Right? Because that's the requirement.
Yeah, gear 6. Sorry, yeah. I meant 4, 7. Sorry, 4 stars, gear tier 7. So, my mistake there.
No, you're good.
But yeah, it was doable, but I definitely need to get her to 7 stars because she just needs that extra health just to take a little more damage, basically, in those situations. But yeah, Juice. Sorry.
And just really quick. In the other nodes, you don't have the same support you do as with Kingdom, right?
Oh yeah, the Toy Story team.
There's no Bell Beast of Toy Story, so you can't. Every character really has to be maxed out because not only are the opponents have higher stats, higher level, higher gear tier, but you're also using worse characters.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as far as the Ascension campaign, it's been out for a little bit now, and I remember when I first talked about it on stream, I didn't have any of the Hunchback characters good to go. I was really far behind, so I started hard farming Quasi. I moved on to Esmeralda. I finished the whole first part of the Ascension campaign on stream. I blew through the whole first part of it fairly quick. I got stuck on the Sensational 6 team and a little bit on the Herc team, but it's doable. If you can get Quasi to 6, 7 star, if you can get him to at least gear tier 6, Maybe he can have some type of impact. So my Quasi was 7-star gear tier 6, Esmeralda was 6-star gear tier 6, bare minimum just to do the damn event. But it was hard carried by Beast Bell and Shan Yu. And I don't have any advice to give to any of you if you don't have Beast unlocked. If you don't, I mean, Shan Yu is definitely doable now that he's obviously in Sorcerer Tournament campaign. You can gear him up through Kingdom stuff. But if you don't have Beast and Bell, I don't know advice to give you if you're listening to this right now. But they hard carried me through it. So I was able to get through the first part. And even some of this parts in the first campaign are doable for 3 stars if you get good RNG, or if you're able to kind of align things up the right way, or if your Esmeralda and Quasi don't get hit. It's just that simple. So I struggled on the Hercules one for a while, and then I did it, and I actually 3-starred it randomly. It was the most, I couldn't believe it. It's just the way it worked out. So it's doable. And obviously it's good investing in those characters too, because Frollo as a potential Kingdom character, you know, for maybe future events and future PvP on your team is a decent investment too. So yeah, the Ascension, first part of the Ascension campaign isn't that scary as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be a lot more of a gear grind. As far as the second part, Sky, I put the infographic on stream, so thank you for that. I didn't have much thoughts about the second part. I know that Toy Story's requirement, but like I'm seeing in my club, like a geared tier 8 big baby and stuff like that. I'm like, what's going on right now? Like how, like obviously they're gearing up for Ascension campaign, which is a goal that people want to get through and achieve. But it's like the thing for me is like, okay, characters you're hard farming. Like, am I really hard farming Toy Story teams right now? Like, am I hard farming Wreck-It Ralph, or am I hard farming other characters as well for future events? So prioritizing which way to go is kind of tricky. It's still tricky to me since there's so much going on. But I mean, even after looking at the infographic and seeing if the rewards are doable, and especially if it's that hard to complete, even if you have a full 7-star gear tier 8 team, that doesn't encourage me to farm for the Toy Story team. So I'd rather either A, have the other whales and krakens do it for me to see what's doable. I have a Zerg though, gear tier 8 and 7-star, but obviously if he's required, I already have that requirement. But I feel like I'm gonna be doing my farming elsewhere. So if you're a player that has Quasi close, or if you're considering being afraid of the Ascension campaign, if you have Beast and Bell and you have Shan Yu or some other type of strong Kingdom character, it's doable. They can hard carry you. Don't let that scare you. But you gotta get Quasi and Esmeralda up a little bit. But if you hard farm them for a couple weeks, you can get them there. My Esmeralda's almost 7-star, so you can farm her both Grand Campaign and through regular energy as well. So I'm not going to touch second stage of Ascension campaign at the moment. I'm going to stay away from that until we kind of see what happens with it. But I don't want to say I'm wasting my time for going through Toy Story, but if it's that difficult, I may wait for a potential nerf or something in the future, even though it may not come.
Yeah, because the people I was in Default Dan's chat, and Krixus was there too, and they both told me that they thought that it wasn't possible without Zerg.
Yeah.
So I haven't done it, but I asked people that have done it, and Default Dan got his Zerg to 8.5 to do Ascension too. Like, it's really hard.
I'll be there eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, though, an 8.5 Zerg is insane. Well, no, not insane, because doesn't Zerg Vision upgrade at gear tier 9?
At 9, yeah. But
So it doesn't really
his
matter.
stats and speed are
His
just a
stats,
bit
yeah.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He's dealing just a bit more damage and stuff.
Yeah.
All I know is
that's where it's like, it's rough.
yeah. All I know is it's gonna help me with Frollo Tower. I think I'm maybe the first tower to actually complete because I have them at 7-7.
Nice.
The other towers, I don't have them. It's totally changed my farming plan as well. I even bumped up. So basically now I'm finishing up Big Baby and Esmeralda, and then I'm gonna go for Wreck-It Ralph, and then I'm gonna finish off like Maximus and Flynn Rider for whenever I need to get them for that, part of the Ascension campaign, and or be able to get Mother Gothel. I think that might be the route, but that's where I have to go, and is gonna be able to finish Rapunzel Tower at that point.
Yeah, I mean, in getting your tower required characters to 7-star gear 6 is always pretty solid, because you can get through all the milestones with only one refresh then.
Yeah.
and you can get to those gammas. And if you're only spending 1 refresh, you get 100 gems throughout the milestone. So it's like you only spent 50 gems every time a tower comes, which is pretty affordable.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Guy, did you 3-star a lot of the first part of the Ascension?
Every node that I replay, I've 3-starred.
Okay.
Oh,
There's
okay.
like I haven't 3-starred like the Wilds node because why would I?
Yeah.
But yeah, because when I beat it, I was very underleveled, but I had like 1,000 Ascension energy because I was spending it for the leaderboard.
Yeah.
I remember
'Cause it was
seeing
doing
that too.
that.
You sent that picture to
Yeah,
me.
I had like over 1,000 hoarded energy. It was really funny. But yeah, so I just grind. Like I must have done 20 attempts on the Sensational 6 node
Yeah.
just because I had the energy for it. And I was underleveled. I had a T6 spell, a T6 quasi, and a T6 4-star Frollo. You know, like, but I just had the attempts and I kept going. Once you got past it, you never play it again until all my characters were up.
Yeah, that's something I may go back and do because you told me, I remember when I first started doing it, like those first couple nodes are pretty tough, especially with like the Sen 6, the Herc, and some of the earlier ones. But once you get into like the
Yeah.
Wilds ones and the Kingdom ones, and it's
They're
all
easy.
like, yeah, it's just kind of one boss at the end. It's all minions and just
Mhm.
controlling speed meters and things like that. It's really not difficult. It's just the matter of if your Quasi or Esmeralda gets one shot or something, it's like, damn it,
Yeah.
you got to retry it. But those are definitely doable. That's just something I have to do later on just to kind of grind those out and get
Yeah,
those 3 stars.
and you'll get it. It's
Yeah.
it's just rolling the dice aggressively until you roll double 6s.
The one that gives me the hardest one right now for the non like legendary nodes, like not the first 5, is the Kingdom one with Namari, Sheriff, Shan Yu, and Mother Gothel at the end. That one's like giving me trouble. But once I get Esmeralda to 7 stars, that'll like won't be a problem anymore because she'll get a little bit more stats, obviously. But yeah, Ascension campaign, definitely a mode that it definitely shaking up DSA because people are having to go for things if they want to go for it, of course. And one day, once you get Gear Tier 9 and 10, I think Ascension campaign is going to be like a thing of the past. Like, oh yeah, just
Exactly.
blow through it, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's like if you're willing to invest in them, you'll easily be able to beat Ascension with Gear 9, Gear 10, Toy Story. Yeah, they'll smoke Ascension, bro. Like
I'm still waiting for the day when I can finally farm my Nightmare Before Christmas team and stuff. I don't know if you ever watch like my account reviews, but like I would push them so far forward and then they just get pushed back and just keep getting pushed back. They've been pushed back, I think, every single month, and so now I'm just kind of like, one day I will get to you guys. Don't worry. But
so bad.
I know they're so bad, but they're the Night Before Christmas. They're so iconic.
It's so good, like how they have like no redeeming qualities. Like there's no mode they're good in. All of them. Like sure, people really want to talk up Oogie Boogie right now,
Yes,
but
I've heard about
any
that.
character is good at Gear 8.5 right now. Baloo will kick ass at Gear 8.5 right now. Shut up.
Oh, I love this guy. Anyways, we have our next topic here, and it's a pretty big one because it encompasses like a lot of things that are coming to DSA. So, lots of upgrades and refreshes coming to DSA. So we're going to cover Club Expedition, Summoner Showdown, UI interface revamp, the Zeus Herc raid, which also will include Gear Tier 9 and Delta Ruins coming to the game. So, I guess we'll start off with Club Expedition. What are your guys' thoughts on Club Expedition? If you guys have read up in it or not.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember about 4 months ago when there was the dev sit down before the one that just passed.
Yeah.
Around where Herc came out.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about a club dungeon revamp.
Mm-hmm.
And they more or less confirmed that this is what that turned into.
Yeah.
Because I actually asked in chat and they said, I was like, so is Club Expedition taking place of the aforementioned Club Dungeon like change, and they said, yeah, that's a safe bet. So they didn't like officially say it, but like they said it. So it's, you know, cool. Like, imagine Club Dungeon, but it actually matters, and decisions actually matter.
So it's kind of like,
because right now it's in Club Dungeon, you guess the wrong door, and you're like, my clubmate will get it. Like, you're not like hoping like, oh, please get the right door in Club Dungeon. Like, you don't care.
I cry over it, Sky. That's like,
You're like, oh, I got 50 less club coins.
That 50 club coins. Whenever I'm short 50, I'm gonna be like, man, it was those 50 club coins that I didn't get that right door that time.
I have over 200,000 club coins at all times. I don't care about 50. So like, I like the idea that they really kind of didn't give that much info, where they kind of like said a lot of vague things about a variety of things. So it's kind of still shrouded in mystery from my perspective, at least. I'm sure there's some information they gave that I didn't, keep, or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, it's cool that another club-oriented mode, right? So it's like gets you closer with your club, matters who you play with. It gets the social aspect, which is always important. So I'm excited for it. What little I know about it,
and I think it might be the end of Club Dungeon. Who knows?
Kind of hope so. I'm sick of doing it. Make Club Dungeon autoable or get rid of it.
No, make it like Galactic War, please. I would love that, where it's just autoable. But sorry, jumped in there for you, Juice.
No, go for it, Dragon, because I didn't read much up on it.
Do you have any thoughts on it though? Like, what do you know about it so far?
I don't know much. I'll be honest with you, I don't know much.
Mm-hmm. I just know it's supposed to. I think it's like a crossing, like a club conquest where nodes are important. But it was like the concept art was interesting. So I don't know if it's gonna be like map based or kind of like, but also looks like it's gonna be like you go move left to right, if you know what I mean, like across like a border section.
They really didn't describe it well.
No,
I don't think anyone fully understands this mode at all.
They gave the most like press conference explanation of like I swear I've ever seen. When they discussed it, I was like, man, like you couldn't have been more vague about explaining this, but you know what? It's okay. I will take it because I know you guys are trying to save your jobs. It's okay. I understand. But yeah, Club Expedition eventually will be here. I'm kind of surprised about the next one we're talking about is Summoner Showdown. Let's Juice. You have anything else to say about Club Expedition?
Not really. I mean, I saw the screenshots with the overhaul and stuff like that, but no. I'm gonna do my research.
For sure.
Not preparing for the show, apparently.
But anyways, Summoner Showdown, like I legit thought this is gonna come out a bit later, but it seems like it's actually gonna be coming a lot sooner than I honestly thought, knowing Glue's release schedule. But since they had that, like, I guess like community outreach discussion, well, not the dev talk, but I mean
whatever
like
you want to call it. I see the thing in the Discord.
Yeah, the disc, whatever the community outreach thing. I don't know. Whatever that was, like the whole explanation, which I'm sorry, I did not take the time to read it because I was like, this is such a mess. Like it's just because we put all the character lists and stuff like that, and I just like my brain was just like, I'm not in the mood for this. But I think it's coming around the corner, like a lot sooner than we think. I think like legit it could come this week. If not, definitely like sometime after 4th of July. It's coming within July, that's for sure.
I agree.
So, Juice, do you know anything about this one? Summoner Showdown?
Yeah, I looked up on that.
Okay.
Stuff like that. I mean, I glanced over it. You know, I think it's cool. I mean, being limited on certain characters you can use, based on star and gear levels. I think the stamina potions thing is really interesting. Oh man, it's gonna be cool to before, I mean, if this would have came out months ago, it would have been incredible because we were seeing the same damn Herc hybrid teams everywhere. PvP was at a super low point, at least in my opinion, and it was pretty stale. And even before that, even with the super silence meta and stuff like that before, where it was just the same teams over and over again. And then you're basically preying on RNG for if something would evade or Baymax would evade or just, you know, Herc would go off and counter all the time. I think it's cool. I think it's an interesting mode. I'm excited to see kind of what it evolves into, and being forced to use certain characters can cause some interesting matchups. And I'm down for it. I think it's really cool, and I'm sure there's a lot of it that I definitely missed. So I'm excited to hear what Sky and both you, DSG, what you have to say.
Sky, go ahead, because I am basically juiced for Club Expedition on this.
I am very excited for Summoner Showdown. I've read the dev thing multiple times. I feel like I have a pretty good take on it, or I feel like I understand the information they've given us to a decent amount at least. And I really like it. The thing that has me uncertain is that they essentially gave us all the information about the mode without a single specific of any kind. Other than like the character lists maybe. But ultimately I think this mode it's like, I think people don't understand how not free to play friendly it's going to be. I don't think this mode is going to be free to play friendly at all. I do think this mode is going to be awesome, and I think I'm going to have so much fun playing this mode, but I do not think it's going to be free to play friendly. If we look at some of the things that they stated in that, they stated that characters, depending on which phase or which showdown number you're in, are going to have to be at a specific star and gear count to be usable in that phase, or, you know, number, whatever showdown it is. And they use the words low, medium, and high, but they don't say what that is, and those are very vague, very you know, like non-specific terms that mean different things to different people. So if I were to guess, I would say the low one is going to be 5-star gear 5, medium 6-star gear 6, high 7-star gear 7. But who really knows? No one does. They do mention, because they call that the bolstering, and they say they will be bolstered to that star and gear level, but they don't mention anything about runes, and they don't mention anything about stones. So I think the runes and the stones are going to be completely, at least from the information that we've been given so far, I'm led to believe that the runes and the stones will not be evened out at all. Also, you'll be given additional points for the leaderboard if your character is above the bolster level. So if the gear requirement for the low is like I thought it might be, 5-star gear 5, and you have a 7-star gear 8.5 character, you're going to get a ton of bonus points just for using that character, because it's such a higher level in the actual game. Like, there's so many things like that where, like, I do not think this will be a very free-to-play friendly mode, but I do think it'll be awesome. I do think it has so much potential to be so much fun, have so much theory crafting around it. We don't know a ton of things. We don't know the rewards. If the rewards aren't good enough, it's not worth investing in, for instance. We don't know how stamina potions and refreshes work, and how fast a character recharges. Are you gonna just kind of build one team out of the group, or are you gonna be beneficial to build as many teams as possible? There's a lot of things that we don't know right now that will change how the mode interacts completely. But I'm very excited for it. I think it's a lot different than what they described, even in the fireside sit down, whatever they call it, where the devs went on Cozy's thing. That was advertised as the most free-to-play friendly thing ever. And then they put this description out, and it's not nearly as free-to-play friendly as I felt like it was described on that, right? Just my opinion. but I do think it's an awesome mode. I do think it's awesome that there are the bolster mechanic where characters are all at the same gear star level if they're usable. I do think there's a lot of room for theory crafting and dynamic play because different characters will be used in each season. For instance, in the first list they put out, there are only 2 leaderships out of every single character. There's only Maurice, who only works with a couple characters because he has a summoned units leadership, and Hopper, who has a like tenacity wilds leadership, which is basically worthless. So you're really gonna have to build teams different than you would otherwise. Like, and I'm very excited for it. But for things like talking about strategy on it, or talking about what teams or how you should build teams or any of that, there's no way for us to know because they didn't give us like any specifics other than those character lists they gave us. But I am very excited about the mode. I just think it's a little different than people think it is.
Is there an estimated release period for this, or is it just they just announced what this is?
I mean, they think they said soon on Cozy Stream.
This is probably the one's going to come out the soonest out of everything.
Yeah, they did say that.
I have nothing else to say. Like, don't know anything about this. Unfortunately.
Look, ideally, I want a majority of my content to be about this mode moving forward, if it's good enough.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's going to be good enough. And I really hope it will be. Because I would love it to be as good as I'm hoping for. Because I think that'd be so fun and so good for the game.
Wait, so is the premise if, like, let's say, I don't know, if Corella's used in a certain season, you just have her unlocked, but you don't have her even invested? Like, if she's usable, is she starred up and geared up to pair with the other, or?
Yeah, so there's going to be a minimum star and gear level for them to be usable in each phase. So each season's going to have different phases where different characters are usable, and there's different requirements to use the characters. So like the first 2 phases are going to have low requirements, then it'll go to medium, and then it'll go to high. Yeah. And different pools will be available in each phase. In the last phase, all the characters are usable. And they don't call them phases. have those G8.5 pieces, like I've hit Grand Champion the past 2 seasons. Even though I don't have a single Gear 8.5 piece, and I beat teams, like I beat a 5,800 power team on stream today because I got some really good luck and I didn't make any mistakes. You know, like but I don't think there's gonna be a way to top these leaderboards if you're not a whale. There's no way. But you will, I'm sure you will get rewards and they will help you along in some merit, but we just don't know what the rewards are, and we don't know how much those refreshes are really going to help people. Like, I'm really excited about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm legitimately really excited about this game mode, and I think it's going to be good, and I think it's going to do great things for the game. That is how I feel about it. You know, I'm going to analyze something fully if I'm going to analyze it.
I mean, I just want to see it drop and see how, you know, affects the game, and then
yeah,
we'll just go on from there. Just like, you know,
it could be a great segue for like next raid too. So like, if this is great content to have before the raid, like, you know, I remember before last year we're all screaming like, when's the raid, and they released a screenshot, and then when's the raid, it's like we were waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, and then it took a while for it to drop, and when it did, it was great. But like, this could be a good mode to kind of tide people over before the raid's coming out, because I think we're close, but we're not quite there yet.
I think like,
and
yeah, sorry, go ahead Sky.
This mode has a lot of replayability because they have seasons, and they're going to be changing the character lists every season to an extent. At least I'm sure they'll keep a character or two. So I think this mode has great longevity in just like, you know, replayability, so to speak, where I think if this mode is fun, you're gonna have fun playing this mode for a long time, and that's why I'm really hoping it's fun, because it has some potential that I don't think any other game mode in this game has so far.
It's a good point. And I mean, just looking forward to the raid as well, because it's crazy to think what November was, so 7 months ago, right? Or 8 months ago at this point, almost 9, or almost, I don't know, something like that. It's been a while at this point since the raid came. And pretty much they confirmed that it's going to be a Herc raid. I mean, how can it not be with the missing pieces on Gear Tier 9 character, for Gear Tier 9? But
and Zeus is still sitting in our
Zeus is still sitting
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. You have 0 out of 10. I have 330. So I don't know what's even playing the game wrong, Sky. I'm just waiting for them to let me spend the gold. But yeah, it's looking. I think it's going to be promising, especially with the UI upgrades. But we'll separate those. So, what are you guys looking forward to with the new raid? Or well, I guess also, what do you think the storyline synopsis is going to be for the raid?
So much to say on this.
I know Sky does, because I remember being in the stream for that. Go ahead, Sky. Go ahead.
All right, so everyone's talking like, oh yeah, you're gonna fight Zeus, you're gonna fight Hercules. No, you're not. You ever watched Hercules? Come on, grow up. Like, you're gonna fight. It's gonna be like different phases where you're fighting different things that are Hades and his minions. One phase you might fight the, you know, what is that? The like lagoon monster that he quote unquote saves Meg from at the beginning. The next phase you might fight whatever, the Hydra that he almost gets eaten by. Then you're facing the Titans. Then you're facing Hades himself. Like, Hades is the overarching villain of this for sure. And I'm just excited because like Hercules is awesome, and Hercules has some of the best like fight sequences of like all of Disney animation. So I think it's gonna be a sick raid. Like the Titans, like, you know, the Titans, there's like the one with like the tornadoes, and there's one with like the ice, and like that's gonna be awesome. Lava for real, and you're gonna like see all those. Or like imagine the Hydra, because the Hydra, the whole thing is, right, you cut off its head and then it grows 2 more or 3 more, whatever it is. imagine like how many cool mechanics they can come up with that, and like how you have to like beat it without it like growing more. Like so much room for so many cool mechanics in a Hercules raid, and I'm just excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, isn't the I know you said Lagoon Monster, Sky. Wasn't that a centaur that he saves? Meg
Oh
from?
yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Centaur. Yeah, you're
You know,
right.
when I was thinking about the raid, I definitely didn't think like Zeus would be the final boss. I'm with you there too, Sky. My original thoughts that it could be just like, you know, Titan after Titan after Titan, then Hades at the end. But I do like your take with the Centaur and the Hydra and stuff like that. It could definitely make unique encounters for sure. My only thing that I think could be a possibility that you didn't mention is like, you know how when you do certain events like Gizmo Duck event or whatever, or like Sensational Six, they put those the AI character on your side that you can use. Like maybe on the final phase of the raid fight, they put Zeus on your team. Where you can use him with your other characters, and then you get to kind of experience playing as him before you get to unlock him, which wasn't possible during the Ursula raid. So you had to unlock her first to be able to play as her, but you knew what abilities she had. But I think that could be kind of a cooler spin on it, where you pick your team, but they throw Zeus on your team to help the final fight or something. The last thing I'll say too is like obviously with the video that Glue sent out last year, even before the Forbidden Depths raid, it showed that like Ursula was in the video, and they showed Maleficent as the dragon, and they showed Hades on his throne. So if it matches, we could see that video they sent out a while back could be just future raid reveals. That was right in front of our face the entire time.
Wait, what video was this?
It was that like 30-second like teaser video. It showed like Hades on his throne. It showed Ursula. It showed Scar, and it showed Maleficent as the dragon. They released it last year, I think, around like September or August. I watched it a couple times on stream.
I don't know if I remember it.
I have to pull it up.
Go check it
I'm
out,
not saying
Sky.
it's gonna be fact, but the reason why is
I like where your head's at.
Yeah, it's something that I've referred to back. So I don't know if Hades isn't the final boss, then obviously it's, that theory is completely wrong. But
gotta be the final boss.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if we could see those random bosses and like fighting 3 Titans at once or something like that. But the last thing I'll mention is like I think the last phase of Ursula, where you're kind of in the background a little bit, and the way the camera set up is so cool. So like you said, I think it could be really interesting what type of encounters we see here. Maybe they up the game and they do more unique encounters that we aren't even expecting or even can't even fathom. So who knows? I'm definitely stoked for it, but we'll see the Gear Tier 9 punish me when that comes out. That's not what I'm looking forward to.
Harder.
Yeah.
Punish me.
Yeah, punish me.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So for me, like listening to you guys and just thinking as well, like it's definitely making me think about what the storyline could be. And what if it's like Hades took the throne of Mount Olympus, and then you have to fight the previous monsters, and then the third stage, in like stage 1 and 2, and then stage 3 you have to free Zeus from the Titans, and then the final boss is the Titans and Hades versus your free Zeus per se, like what we're talking about. You could have Zeus as a playable character, and then your team in like stage 4. I think that would be pretty cool. And who knows, they could do more than 4 stages. They could do 5. They could do 6.
Well, they also said that we're gonna get to pick which phases
yes.
we want to fight in what order, right?
Which I thought was really interesting.
Pretty weird. Yeah, I don't think any raid has ever done that in a game like this, to my knowledge.
They're being very innovative.
Wow. I think it's just because everyone hated Glut so much. And Glut was the first phase.
It's true. It like Glut was like, I guess like the gatekeeper for a lot of people. Like, oh, I can't defeat this. I didn't want to know it. Like, you know, the eels can do, and Ursula. I don't give a damn.
Glut's like the hardest phase by far.
Yeah, for me, like even before.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah, like for me, if I could do like, you know, 500,000 to 1 million damage against Glut, like, hey, it's a good day. That's how I always felt, even with the old version of the raid.
Yeah.
But who knows if, I guess, like looking to forward, I don't know if they will release a new gear tier without a raid, because keep on going around along this route. But then that means like if you go into gear tier, 12, 13, 14, 15 or something like that, that's gonna be a lot of raids. Because Swaga's at 4-ish, right? Yeah, they're at 4 right now. And apparently the devs said they have no intentions of adding a new raid. But also I kind of think maybe Swaga has a harder time making new raids just because of storyline and stuff like that, but which I think is BS, because there's a lot of scenes in Star Wars that you could definitely make a raid for. But in DSA with Disney, I mean, holy crap, like every movie could literally be a raid. So
Every movie. I want a Winnie the Pooh raid.
A Winnie the Pooh where all you fight is Heffalumps. That is
Dream sequence part of the raid.
I think that would be freaking awesome. And remember, like people were saying, "Oh, Winnie the Pooh's gonna be the next legendary." Became Ralph. Sad day.
That day, indeed.
But yeah, and I guess like Gear Tier 9 and Deltas. I mean,
Wait, I have one last thing to say about the raid.
okay, go ahead, Sky.
One last, and that's that. If you look at the raid store and raid coins,
Yes.
none of it mentions the Forbidden Depths.
Oh yeah, I hope it's separate as hell.
So that would lead me to believe, based on the way they named these things and the art they used on these things, that all raids are going to give raid coins.
I wish it was
So,
separate.
maybe you can use raid coins for new gear when the new raid comes out. Now, I'm not saying hoard, but if you can spend different currencies and like sideways hoard raid currency, that is a risk you can take that may or may not pay off, that I am currently taking.
Fair point.
Yeah, because I think that club and raid coins are the first places new gear will be added. So if I can spend other resources on the pieces I want to buy from there and sideways hoard those, I think there's a chance I will be rewarded. Not that it will for sure work, but just something to think about.
No, it's definitely a good point. Because I think you're right. That's probably the one thing that they kind of change more frequently when new things come around. So definitely look forward to that. But of course, Gear Tier 9 and Deltarunes. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, because Deltarunes, if it's gonna increase gamma and betas, fantastic. But then Delta becomes new gamma, and who knows what happens when Epsilon comes into the game. But yeah, it's an interesting situation we're in. I really hope gammas get a better drop. I really do. And same with betas, because that's still a crunch. When you're trying to do Ascension campaign and need some abilities leveled up, it's a bit of a squeeze, to say the least. But yeah, it's kind of like my insights on that. But what are you guys insights into Deltarunes and Gear Tier 9?
Runes are just such an annoying grind for me. Like, I have multiple G8 level 70 characters that are unusable because of runes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be a bummer when they add. It's like people complain about gold, and I don't even think gold's as bad as runes, but that's a subjective thing. But imagine if they added like a new type of gold,
Yeah.
Please no,
like
please.
Right? Like, exactly. That'd be like terrible. If they had like, to get characters from 80 to 90, you need to use red gold. Like, imagine if that happened. That's what Delta is like.
Or if like potions actually mattered.
Yeah, or whatever you want to, it's like when they add a new gear tier, So that's something I'm not especially looking forward to. I mean, which runes? I think the 5 most impactful abilities, in theory, are gonna be the 50% damage boosts, and the 2 that Herc gets, the 2 the Beast gets, and the 1 that Elsa gets are most likely going to be the 3 most not beneficial. What's the word I'm looking for?
Impactful.
Most impactful. There you go. Thank you. Out of like all the abilities as first glance, I'm sure there's something that everyone's missed, more or less. But yeah, I mean, 50% damage boosts are just good. Like, right? Like, it's just, oh, what if its damage was like what if these high damage abilities had 50% more damage? And the way that damage works too is that one attack already has defense minus from it. So a 50% damage boost is actually more than that, because the same amount of damage is being deducted from defense no matter what the damage of an ability is.
Mhm.
So it's almost like you would think that, like, let's say everyone got taxed $100, right? And Juice made $1,000 and Dragon made $1,500. They both got taxed $100 from the defense, but Juice dealt 900 and Dragon dealt 1,400. That's like the best analogy, where it's like the way the defense work, it just deducts from the damage taken. So adding 50% additional damage is insane. So that's what I fear on G9 and Delta Runes. That's like, who gets damage? All right, these characters had good damage abilities, now they're even better. Cool.
Juice, do you have anything?
Yeah, I know I talked about G9 a little bit ago, but I'm kind of worried about it just because it feels like the players that have any 8.5 already is bundled based. I don't know what the drop rates are for Ascension campaign, but they seem pretty ass. And
win for 6.
yeah, so you need to be, and I'm sure this is a
20%
question we
or
can.
less, that's what I say.
Yeah, this is a question that was either going to be asked either at some point during the pod tonight, was like, what character do you go for 9 first, or what character you go 8.5 first? Because if you make the wrong choice, it can put you behind significantly, especially if you aren't buying bundles or if you're not whaling and stuff like that for them, for that. So that's an interesting decision to make, and I haven't really been grinding. I mean, I've been spending Ascension energy to get the new piece of gear, but I haven't really narrowed my focus on who I want to go for just yet. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, whether it's the new leaderships, whether it's the characters that Sky talked about as well, and just the overall power creep for those characters. It's going to be a massive. So there's going to be players that get those G9s really, really quick, and it's going to feel far superior outstatted. When G8 was first introduced, I felt the impact because I didn't have Hero up, and so his leadership was significantly slower. Then Speed changed the game, where it's like, okay, I can't outspeed the characters, and I just fall behind, and and it's just difficult to win. With G9, I feel it's gonna be purely stat based, where it's like you just can't keep up with the damage, you can't keep up with the AoE damage. It's just like you just won't be able to just feel like you're on kind of an even playing field, rather than it being speed based. Because I feel like speed now it has impact still, but we've seen these Wreck-It Ralph teams that don't have any speed leadership that are able to kind of keep up and whatnot. But we'll see with Kingdom still to come. But yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for if you're trying to grind each individual character to 9 individually, which I'll probably plan on doing based on what I see has the most impactful G9s and which characters are worth it first. But it scares me to invest in someone and realize that, oh crap, like I made the wrong choice. That's a lot of energy, that's a lot of hours you put into the game. So, and even Delta runes too, which I didn't talk about, but we get the gist of what runes are now in the game.
Delta runes are going to be a huge, like, we don't know how we get them, but you're going to be scarce on them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chance you're less scarce than them on G9 gear, but most likely not. Most likely they'll be a grind in themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you guys got anything else?
Talking about what characters are the best For right now, unless you're buying bundles and you're just maxing out your characters at G8.5, which few and far in between of us are, you're gonna want to go for those speed pieces first, because almost every single character has at least one speed piece. I think Frollo is the only one I found that doesn't have a speed piece at 8.5, but he was like one of the fastest characters in the game, so it kind of makes sense. So I went for Herc first. I'm very close to getting the first speed piece on Herc. I since have like kind of regretted that, and I wish I went for Ursula first. And just the ability to have your Ursula fast enough to get that polymorph out right off the get-go is huge. It's just so huge.
And even the silence for the other team too is pretty damn good.
Oh, great point. Yeah, completely agree. So you just, if your Ursula's going before either like potentially all of their characters, right? Because your Ursula's really fast with stealing speed. So I think you're like the Ursulas I've gone that have that speed piece just really dictate the game. So I think Ursula is like, and she's so plug and play too. She can work in any team. So I think Ursula's speed piece is a really good choice. Herc isn't a bad choice either, because again, he's very plug and play. And then after that, it really goes into what you're running. Are you running Wreck-It Ralph characters? Are you running Big Hero 6 characters? Are you running Kingdom? Are you running Mythicals? I feel like those would probably be the 4 most common things people are running. And just depending on what you're running in and what you see yourself using in the long term, go from there. But I think Herc and Ursula are got to be the 2 safest picks. Ursula being the one that you're once more and more people get their Ursula speed pieces and you don't have yours, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it like you felt Hero's speed lead at G8.
And I feel like the Oceanic Ascension campaigns aren't too bad. Like those are doable.
I don't think they're bad. Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they are, but if you can beat all of Ascension 1, you should be able to 3-star those nodes, no problem. The big grind actually is the vision pieces, because vision is 100. Every single character needs 100 vision fragments. So if your claim attempt isn't going to a character for hard nodes, it should probably be going to the vision fragments, and you should be doing those 10 attempts every day for vision, because 100 per character is quite a bit. It really is quite a bit.
Well, sorry.
Okay, you go. No, you go.
Like, one thing I see though about the vision fragments is that I think they're going to become like dream fragments.
There's a good chance, but it's just when.
It's true. Well, when the raid drops.
Yeah, when's the raid gonna drop? Like 3 months minimum, probably, right?
No, I think it's gonna come in August. I think it's
you
like
August.
I think it's right around the corner. I think like
I would love it if it came in August.
I
don't
even
know about that.
I even like predicted it like it's gonna come out like by the end of the month.
Well, how long of a gap was it will be hard to check because we'd have to go through a bunch of patch notes, but
yeah,
I wonder what the gap was between G7.5 and G8.
Oh gosh, that I will.
Yeah, I don't know it off the top of my head remotely, but it would give us some type of clue to when we could expect the raid.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't have the information.
Yeah, no, it'll be a little hard to find. I'll see if I can find it, but you guys, if I probably won't be able to.
But
I mean, before we wrap up too, Dragon, I know I don't know, we've been going for a while now. I don't know. I mentioned to the stream, at least I wanted to ask a couple questions for to Sky, just because I haven't been super active on lately, and when you don't have time to do a lot of research or play the game and kind of fully on your own hand, you go to experts, you go to people that know their stuff. So Sky had developed a team I'm currently using right now, this kind of Kingdom hybrid team where he was running Shan Yu and Bell Beast, and Ursula and Hercules, and I had characters similar to that, and all I had to do was get Bell to G8, and I got Shan Yu to G8 after that. Team's working very well as far as ST and PvP right now, and based on his success in Grand Champion, I'm excited to go back and watch his VODs and learn more about fighting Ralph and Vanellope and things like that to become a better player. And PvP doesn't seem impossible right now. It feels really good with this Kingdom lead. I was going to ask you first, Sky. Is there any characters you're looking to aim for that to maybe swap out to make the team, to make the final cut on this current team, whether it's a Frollo or you want to go more Kingdom based? We'll start with that, and I think I have just one more for you. We can kind of wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Kingdom, Timon is the person that actually came up with the team
Oh,
originally.
yeah.
He was running it for quite some time, even before the Big Hero 6 nerf. Like, he's actually been running this for months. And to great success even with pre-nerf Big Hero 6 out in the wild. He was doing quite well against them. And then when they got nerfed, he was like, dude, this is easy mode. But it's just really hard to change anyone out, because if you don't run Ursula in a team, you just feel so slow. And then Herc is not only just such a good plug-and-play character, but is so good to put in that sweet spot for Bell. So even with the Wreck-It Ralph characters, I know Timon was testing out Vanellope Ralph instead of Ursula and Herc, but I just don't see that being better than running. I think if you're running Kingdom and you don't have these Kingdom villains, it's got to be that. And even with the Kingdom villains, I'm unsure. I just can't test them, right? And I don't see them enough because they're so gate kept. Because I think like Namari is very good, and I think Frollo's pretty good. I think Gothel's overrated. I wouldn't even consider her. But it's too hard not to run Herc, because it just makes that Bell basic so insane with Beast and Herc getting called. You're giving offense down. You have about a 50% chance, a little less than, to purge. You're getting 4 hits in with Beast. And sometimes you have offense up on both those characters, and I've taken like Ursula's down from full health with just a basic off Bell. Like, that's stupid. I mean, I have seen a lot of mythicals up, and it's really hard to beat mythicals when they have that speed piece on Pain and Panic with Miguel. So if Miguel becomes farmable, I could see myself trying to switch over to mythicals. But the only thing is that Hades is really bad against Bell, because if you put Intimidate on him, he's pretty boned. The Intimidate shaken, because he can't assist Pain and Panic is what it is with Combustion if he's intimidated, because you can't assist if you're intimidated. So I mean, I don't know, the meta's in a weird spot where I feel like Ralph, we know Ralph's good, we know Vanellope's good, I don't think anyone knows how to run them yet. I don't think anyone knows the team they belong in yet. But I mean, I really I looked at Caledon's count. Caledon, of course, the biggest
whale of whales.
Yeah. He had a 6,100 power Kingdom team, and I'm sure he was just mowing people. I don't even know how much he plays PvP, but he was Grand Champ, and he probably only lost a couple games because imagine running the same team both of us are running Juice, but with 6,100 power. The sneaky play that both Timon and I have been doing that I think is really good, and is part of the reason I think I've been having so much success, is we've actually went away from a 15% speedstone on Bell, and we're running a 10% speedstone now. And what that does is that makes Shan Yu faster than Bell, so that Ursula steals from Shan Yu instead of Bell. That's good for a variety of reasons, because first of all, you're gonna go first with Bell. You're going to have more speed on Bell the entire game. If Bell's passive procs when Ursula steals turn meter, she doesn't reflect anything, and she doesn't give turn meter to adjacent opponents. So it keeps that passive, and it makes Bell get more turns throughout the entire game. it lets Yu go a little bit later so he can get that headbutt in maybe first turn and kill someone. So that's like the only change I would make, because I already made it, where I went from like my power in the team went down by 50, and I think it's way better.
I noticed that, and I was like, wait, no, there's no way he can't afford
Yeah,
another force.
no, it's on
speed, so
purpose.
That's dope.
It's like if you aren't playing against a lot of Ursula, it's really bad.
Yeah.
But as soon as you play against a lot of Ursula, which she has like an 80% usage in champion, it's really good. It's really good. You keep that passive and you keep that speed. In the mirror, I played the mirror today and it's similar power, and it wasn't even close because my first turn was Bell, and I intimidated his entire team, and I put Shaken on his entire team, and it was just over, straight up. Like, oh, your Ursula can't do anything. Like, oh, your Herc isn't getting turn meter or putting offense down up. Like, you just lose, straight up.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'll have to make that swap out right after this pod. And I guess my final question is you
get like a spare 15% speed stone that you're using that you can throw on someone else, which is
I guess my final question is, are you gonna go for the speed piece on Ursula now that you know kind of how impactful it is? Or
yeah, I mean, the way Ascension works is you're capped on all the pieces you're farming. I was full farming Herc and side farming Ursula from the beginning, and I'm just too invested into the Herc, the mythical pieces, and I'm not willing to wait. So I could get the Ursula piece a little bit faster if I waited for the Herc piece, but I'm just gonna do the Herc piece as soon as I can, and then the Ursula piece as soon as I can.
Got it.
Because it's still like speed on Herc is still awesome. It's just not as good as on Ursula.
Got it. And last quick question: I noticed that you had Sugar Rush and Grammatala for defense. Is that working? Are you getting wins? I just swapped it out when I saw it.
Yeah, it's all about, for spells and defense. It's like, can you use this spell at a bad time?
Yeah.
And neither of those spells you can really use at a bad time. Like, you could heal. The only thing bad that can happen really is you can heal and heal with Tala. But since the hammer nerf, I don't really like it on defense if you aren't running a lot of downtown heroes. So that's kind of the idea. And Sugar Rush getting the buff made it pretty good on defense, because I always like speed meter and free basics. It's great.
Well, thanks, dude. It's nice asking a fellow club member some advice on how to get better.
Always nice to help.
That is a rip to me to join Van. One day, if my collective club ever fully collapses, I will then have to search for another club. Maybe we'll create the Club 33 club. Who knows? Who knows? It'll be a no club. I'm just kidding. No club conquest.
We didn't talk about that. Real quick, Club Conquest is awesome. All right, that's it. I like Club Conquest now.
It's better now.
The rewards are still shit, but you don't have to spend as much time doing it. It's great.
That's the important part. But
yeah,
we good? I have to jump.
But we're good. Sorry, Dragon.
No worries. But yeah. Thank you guys for jumping into episode number 15 for the Club 33 podcast. There's a lot to talk about today, which is awesome. And probably in the next episode in the coming weeks, it's going to continue being that trend. I don't really see a slowdown in DSA anytime soon, which is awesome. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, or anything like that for the raid gear tier 9 seminar showdown, definitely, write in the comment section, DM any of us. Well, especially Sky, he can give you probably the best information out of the three of us. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.
Bye guys, thanks.